Welcome, everybody, to Lubbock Municipal Coliseum in Lubbock, Texas. It's the Wisconsin Badgers, ranked number 19 in the nation, in town to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the Big Ten Conference against the Southwest Conference. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin, and welcome to the second game of our triple header tonight. You know, it is said that here on the South Plains that these are some of the friendliest folks that you'll find any place in the country. Well, James Dickey and his basketball team plan tonight to be very friendly before and also after, but in the 2 hours in between, they're going to see if they can be just a little bit unhospitable, but they got a tough task at hand tonight, Dan Bonner. Let's talk about Wisconsin. They're picked as high as number 2 in the Big Ten Conference, as low as number 7. That's quite a wide variance.
It is, and I think it's a combination of a couple of factors. Number one, nobody really can figure out what's going on with the Big Ten this year, but I think most importantly, it's an acknowledgement of a great Wisconsin recruiting class, but a question about how far freshmen can really carry it.
All right, now one thing that is for sure, Michael Finley is a preseason All-American. What a solid foundation he brings them, and there are pro scouts in attendance tonight here just specifically to look at him.
You can really understand why. The 6'6 junior for Wisconsin is a heck of a basketball player. He can penetrate into the lane. He can shoot the outside jump shot. He runs the court very well. This is a young man who, in one of the country's outstanding basketball conferences, is able to put up numbers like these. This guy is one of the top 15 or 20 players in the country. We're looking forward to seeing him tonight.
Well, the last time we saw James Dickey and his Texas Tech Red Raiders, we were here for a game between Texas Tech and the Texas Longhorns. And it was a shootout. Texas Tech won it 105 to 103. But since then, a lot of new names and a lot of new faces. How do they stop this much larger Wisconsin basketball team?
I think their size is going to be a problem. It's a young team for James Dickey. They're going to have to defend the interior. They're going to have to defend it in transition. And they're going to, above all things, have to limit Wisconsin to one shot.
So it's the Big Ten Conference come calling against the Southwest Conference. We'll be back with the starting lineups and the opening tip-off from Lubbock after this.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Smooth Operator Wet Dry Razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
Welcome back to Lubbock, Texas. We're just a couple of moments away from tipping this one off, and here are the starting lineups tonight for these two basketball teams playing at Lubbock Municipal Coliseum tonight. For Wisconsin, from the Big Ten Conference, this is the way they will open it tonight. Kilbride, Griffith, Kelly, and Finley. And Tracy Webster probably goes unnoticed considering the attention that everybody else gets. But boy, what an athlete he is.
This is a young man who led the Big Ten in steals and assists last season. As we get a look at Stu Jackson, everybody thought his point guard, Tracy Webster, had a bad year last year.
Texas Tech, and here's their starters, Sasser and Ham, Davis and Hughes, and Coy Smith. It's a three-guard set that they'll open with. Coy Smith needs to get out of his shooting doldrums if this man's ball club is going to have a chance tonight. James Dickey, third season at Texas Tech, and they're 35-28 in that time that he's been here. Ball is in the air, and the tap will go to Hughes of Texas Tech. So the Red Raiders will go on offense to open it here this evening. Sasser works on the perimeter, and we'll get a look very quickly as to how Texas Tech will match up and work against this sized Wisconsin team. Ball is down, and I don't think it's going to be offensive interference.
Wisconsin lined up in a man-to-man, and Darvin Ham got his hand on the ball while it was in the cylinder as Mark Davis penetrates to the baseline here. I think the first thing we see about Wisconsin is they've decided that they are going to attack Richard Griffith.
Sad thing about that for Texas Tech fans, Darvin Ham put a hand on, didn't have to. It was going to stay down.
Darvin Ham going against Richard Griffith. He's going to get called for the foul. This is a very interesting matchup for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Ham is 6'7", 215 pounds. Griffith, I've seen him listed anywhere from 6'11" to 7'1", 265 pounds. So Ham giving away an awful lot inside.
So the first foul, the first team foul against the Wisconsin Badgers.
Davis very nearly got that one.
Ham, I beg your pardon, with the foul. Shot is down, and Wisconsin goes on top 2-0.
Finley is a fellow who is going to get his points, and Texas Tech acknowledges that. They want to make him work very hard for everything he gets. That was too easy.
Way outside, three-pointer if it goes, and it does. Davis knocks it home. Mark, the junior transfer out of Thibodaux, Louisiana. He got him playing the point, which is a little bit out of position. Kelly left alone. Just across the top of the tee, it's a two-pointer. Brian Kelly knocks it home.
Kelly not noted for his shooting range out there.
The ball stolen, going to be taken by Webster. He just out-hustles everybody, and he gets the easy two. Nice job by Tracy Webster following the steal and the save by Andy Kilbride. 6-3 very quickly. Wisconsin on top. Hughes misses on the three-point attempt. Webster will come away with it, and the Badgers will push it up.
And you look for Wisconsin to push it every time they get the opportunity.
Griffith. And boy, you could hear groans from the crowd. There's not a lot you could do when he gets the ball in that close at 6'11".
Actually, they did a pretty good job. They made him shoot a turnaround jump shot.
That's right. Sasser on the miss. Outlet pass comes to Finley, and here come the Badgers. 3-on-1. Kilbride with the reverse. And right now, James Dickey might need a timeout early. It is 10-3, and Wisconsin is soaring.
Ron, the Red Raiders sort of jogged up the court, and Wisconsin, they get the ball off the board, and they explode up the court. James Dickey knew that he had to defend in transition, and thus far, they have not defended well in transition at all.
Roy Smith back over to Davis. He'll try to penetrate. That is cut off. It's on the floor. Comes back to Hughes. Sasser from deep in the corner. Not there. Smith on the follow. It's blocked by Griffith. Hughes, nice job in the cut.
They just lost Hughes. You've seen Texas Tech hoist up some three-pointers. They will do that, averaging almost 20 a game attempts. They got to make some.
Backdoor cutter. Knocked away by the Red Raiders. Sasser, bounce pass. Back to Ham, and it goes. Darvin Ham, junior from Saginaw, Michigan. And it's 10-7. Webster strong to the hoop. Can't get it to go, and the rebound by Texas Tech.
Good block out.
Yep, Darvin Ham comes away with it. Deep in the corner, in and out, and lucky on the shot, and it's Kelly who skies for the rebound. And now both teams, as we have gone through the first 3.5 minutes, slow it down just a little bit. Deep pass inside to Griffith, though he's going to score every time if he gets the ball that deep into the paint.
It's going to be hard to see how Texas Tech can prevent him from getting that ball that deep in the transition game because there's nobody to help Ham, and all Griffith has to do is just put a little bit of that big body against Ham, and he's pushing him anywhere he wants to.
5-point Wisconsin lead as we're about to go into 16 minutes left in this opening half.
Very aggressive defense by Wisconsin. Nice pass.
Nice pass to Sasser, who's right there, and he gets the easy two. And with that, Stu Jackson is up off the bench with his arms folded and not real happy with his team defense. 12-9. No, look at the cutter here. Kilbride. Well, Griffith gets the ball, and everybody becomes mesmerized.
That's exactly. You can't do that. When the ball gets into the big guy, you just can't turn around and watch him with it.
One of the things that the coaches talked about, that they are impressed with the freshman and his early play, and that is his willingness not only to give up the basketball, but a very good passer. 14-9, Wisconsin. Hughes inside to Ham. Bounce pass to Davis, and he reverses it and scores. Davis is said to be the best athlete on this Texas Tech club, and you can see why right there.
Look at how low Griffith has it in. In the transition, what Wisconsin wants to do is run the ball up the court, spread you out, and then kick the ball inside to Griffith, and he's doing a great job in the transition, getting to the blocks and turning around. There's nothing Texas Tech can do.
Sasser on the baseline, bounces it back out on top. Hughes will penetrate inside. Ball is blocked by Webster, and here comes Wisconsin. 3-on-2 with the break. Kilbride, 3 of it goes, not there. Sasser comes away with it for the Red Raiders.
This is really some pace to this basketball game.
Whistle and a foul, and that's going to go against Griffith. Our referee tonight is Wally Tanner. Mike Thibodaux and Jim Flores are the 2 umpires in this one, as Peterson will come in and Webster will get a breather for Wisconsin. Cooper will check into the lineup for the Red Raiders. And also Collins will come into the lineup. Hughes will get a rest. So the 5 on the floor for the Red Raiders will be Sasser, Collins, Smith.
Cooper's in the ballgame.
Mark Davis, yes, the name Coop, and also 32, it's Janae Cooper, yeah.
This has been an unbelievable pace to this basketball game there.
And this actually favors Wisconsin, although it's a home court for Texas Tech, and the fact that just the sheer numbers, because the Red Raiders have only been playing 8 players.
The other thing is you've seen in the transition, Wisconsin is able to get Griffith down on the blocks, and there's nobody to help him to make him give up the ball.
Sasser with a deep breath tries to cut it back to a 3-point game. Can't get it to go, and it's Griffith. Griffith out on top this time as he looks inside for Peterson.
And with Griffith and Peterson in the game at the same time, Wisconsin is really big. Texas Tech has gone to a zone.
You see Jason Johnson also has come in, number 3, but they lose.
Oh, what a block!
The ball is blocked by Cooper. That gets them off their seats and standing up here in Lubbock. Red Raiders can cut it to a 2-point game. Smith with a nice feed. Cooper had already headed down the baseline with a pass, and as a timeout on the floor, will take it with him. Wisconsin 16 and the Raiders 12 with 13:53 left in this opening half.
Long Beach State and number 9 UCLA. Cameron Zoller with the quick hands comes up with a steal. And then he spots Charles O'Bannon behind him, who lays it up and in. UCLA leads by 10. Ron and Dan.
Okay, John, it's interesting that you show that highlight here at the beginning of this ball game. I think UCLA is one of those teams that has a real good shot at being there at the very end.
Well, I think being there at the very beginning may be Wisconsin. Now, we talk about transition game. We don't necessarily mean running down and shooting a layup. Here, before Texas Tech can get organized on defense, Griffith just gets his big body down there against a 6'7" opponent, and with no help around for Texas Tech, there's no way you can stop that guy, and that's why Wisconsin is shooting such a high percentage. Zone defense, Texas Tech.
Jaleel Roberts in the ball game. This is Webster.
Oh, nice pump fake. Nice job. This is Roberts, another of those highly touted freshmen for Wisconsin.
First time that we've come close to meeting the shot clock. It's down to 5 and now down to 4. Not there. Battle for it. Roberts comes away with it. The fresh 35 for the Badgers. The look inside Griffith.
And absolutely, Texas Tech cannot afford to give any second shots to Wisconsin.
He's 4 of 4. Griffith looks as though he's been doing this a long time on the collegiate level. He's just not intimidated or bothered by anything.
He's got 1 foul on him. I'm sure Texas Tech would like to try to get that second one on him. Red Raiders would like to attack him, I think.
Coy Smith. Got it. Now that's got to be good news for James Dickey and bring a little bit of a smile, because Smith has really been having his shooting problems. They need him to get out of the doldrums. In and out, not there. Red Raiders will come away. Smith with the long nice catch. Coy Smith, and he's going to reset it. Sasser on the baseline. 15-footer counter. 18-17, and now a 1-point ball game.
The transition game is going to help Texas Tech. Peterson doesn't see it.
And that is a nice defensive play. Tracy Webster.
Coy Smith possibly gets a little bit too fancy here, Ron. He had a 2-on-1 fast break. It looked to me as if he could have kicked it off. But here, Peterson just not looking for the basketball. Your center doesn't expect to catch it out there from the point guard. 3-on-1. Looks like Smith has the opportunity to pass it off, but Hot Dogs is lucky to get fouled.
Tracy Webster is charged with the foul, his first, and the team's second. Mel Hoskins will check into the lineup. Darnell is a freshman out of Dayton, Ohio. Another
highly touted freshman. This is his first action of the regular season. He sprained his ankle, missed their previous regular season games.
Stu Jackson in his second year as the head man with the Wisconsin Badgers. You know, later on in this telecast, as you look at Stu, we'll talk to him about Rick Pitino and his association with him and how much of Pitino's style and the way he coaches and theory rubbed off on him. And it's in watching his workout today, I told you, just a whole heck of a lot did. He does a lot of things that Pitino does in his shoot-around.
But the interesting thing is that Stu Jackson is certainly an intelligent enough guy to know that he can't be Rick Pitino. He's got to be Stu Jackson, so he adapts everything to his own personality and that of his team.
Now the crowd is back in this one with the tie. The ball is tipped. Roberts will come away with it on the baseline. Shot won't go, but Hughes knocks it out of bounds for the Red Raiders.
And you know who made that play, Ron? It was Hoskins. Hoskins got up and tapped the ball toward a teammate. Didn't try to grab it against the bigger guys. Just took and batted it toward a teammate, and as a result, Wisconsin keeps possession of the ball.
You see Roberts with the inbounds pass. Peterson out on top. Finley has been relatively quiet so far.
Texas Tech has been very effective in the zone, and they get another steal.
Lance Hughes gets it. Texas Tech by 3. Crowd on their feet as we're about to go into 11 minutes until halftime. Shot is short. Peterson on the follow and count it. And the Red Raider coaches wanted a push off on Peterson. Sasser back out to Davis.
Texas Tech's doing a nice job on the offensive end, keeping control of the basketball. They haven't turned it over. Turnovers have been a problem for them earlier in the season, but they've done a nice job against Wisconsin's pressure.
Timeout on the floor. We'll take it with us. Texas Tech Red Raiders up by 1 with 11:11 left in the first half. And coming up next, we'll take you to Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, where the LSU Tigers will play host to one of the nation's top centers in Bryant Big Country Reeves and his 15th-ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys. Led the Big 8 in scoring, rebounding, and field goal percentage last year. As you look at Big Country right there, and he's the first to do that since 1959. Guess who did it then, Mr. Bonner?
Wilt Chamberlain.
I think it was a guy named Chamberlain. That's exactly right. Tim Brando and Dick Vitale. I'll have all the action for you. Well, we turn around. I think this guy's not from Texas Tech. A cheesehead here. In fact, there are a number of Wisconsin fans.
Well, now that's a Wisconsin fan. Did you see what he has on his sweatshirt? It says Minnesota.
Minnesota. Hughes with the pull-up, and he will score. Lance Hughes, the 6'4 junior out of Georgetown. Texas Tech again by 3.
Hughes comes in shooting almost 51% on the season. Here's the zone defense for Texas Tech that has been very, very effective.
Count it. Jaleel Roberts, freshman out of Jersey City, played at St. Anthony's, and of course Bob Hurley Sr. is the coach there.
Roberts comes in with the reputation as a scorer, a guy who can get to the basket, shoot the 3. He's also a tremendous defensive player.
Bob Hurley was quoted as saying about this young man, and when he came out, he was the best pure scorer he'd ever had there, which covers a lot of territory.
It does.
Tied at 23. Badgers on the attack.
Again, Finley very, very quiet in the early going run.
Boy, he has been. Johnson deep in the corner. Counted for 3. And he was well beyond the three-point line when he hit it. 26-23, Wisconsin.
The Badgers are a team that takes almost 20 3-point shots per game as well, Ron. And so it's really going to be a catch-22 here for Texas Tech. There's a blocking foul inside against Johnson, but if they can't play man-to-man against Wisconsin because of the size, Wisconsin's gotten it in there easily. And if they're not going to be able to play zone because of Wisconsin's three-point shooting, you got to wonder what James Dickey's going to do.
That's the first foul on Jaleel Roberts. Third team foul.
With the exception of Roberts, who stays on the court, the Wisconsin starters are back in the ballgame. Wisconsin going with a little bit smaller lineup. Kelly, the big 6'7", 240-pound starter, was not in the game for the Badgers.
Hughes with the look inside, loses the ball, and here comes Webster. Webster to Finley, and look at that quick burst by Finley and the jam. Good heavens.
Wow. Boy, Webster did a great job in transition getting that ball up the court, but Finley just exploded to that baseline. Wow.
Guys in the truck, if you can hold on to that one, please. We'd like to look at it again and get his flight plan. Three-pointer on the way, won't go. Hughes on the follow, unlucky on the shot, and here comes Wisconsin. Roberts. They break it 3-on-2 as now the Red Raiders get back. But in transition, boy,
There's
you're
Griffith
right.
again. He's just all alone in transition.
Griffith still hasn't missed a shot, has he? 5 of 6. Okay, he did miss one.
Coy Smith actually got down and helped out pretty well, pretty quickly, but Griffith was showing some great hands.
7-point lead. Griffith with the block, and here comes Wisconsin again. Roberts feeds it back out. I think it's going to be an offensive foul.
No, it's going to be a block, and that's a tremendous break for Wisconsin. They're going to call block on Coy Smith. Roberts got himself in there and just had nothing to do with the ball. What a break.
Coy Smith with his first foul. Well, ESPN Hockey Night returns Tuesday with a sensational matchup. Wayne Gretzky leads the Kings against the Pittsburgh Penguins. ESPN Hockey Night Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Time, right here on ESPN. That's only the second team foul against Texas Tech, as we have 8:50 remaining in this first half. 3-second violation called on, I believe, Gilbride got caught in there.
Nice Griffith that they caught in there, and he's a hard guy to miss down on the inside. Now for Texas Tech, Ron, they're doing pretty well on the defensive end of the court, but they've got to come up here on the offensive end. They've got to be able to score. You're playing a team with the talent of Wisconsin. You can't go for long stretches without putting the ball in the basket.
Sasser. Hughes. Nice reversal. Can't get it to go down. You know, I think one of the things that's making the difference with him is last year, Lance Hughes saw the basketball coming back from inside. The ball would be reversed. It'd go inside and back out to get a three-point shot. And the same thing with Coy Smith. Clemens would work the ball and get back out, and it was almost like you got the defense going in the wrong direction, and they had a little bit better opportunity on the three-point shot. They're not getting that this year because of lack of size inside.
Well, there's no questions in losing Will Clemens, one of the great players in the history of Texas Tech in the Southwest Conference, that they've lost that inside threat, and therefore it's easier for teams to defend the perimeter.
7 for Hughes now. Hughes with the block at the other end, and Sasser will come away, and now Kilbride will be charged with the foul.
If you're a basketball player, you just love it on defense when the offensive guy just puts the ball right in front of you for the block shot. Hughes, one of the best jumpers that you'll see at 6'4". Watch him get up, perfect timing. He nearly bounced that ball in the basket. Here he comes again. He's got to take some lessons from Rashad Griffith about just tipping that ball to a teammate. There's Lance Hughes. He led this team last year in dunks with 25. He's very athletic, can really get up in the air. Now, again, it's important that Texas Tech turn that defensive play into something positive on the offensive end.
Sasser tries to feed it back, and Kelly's right there to get the turnover. Brian Kelly is another big body at 6'7", 240. Well, we just talked about Michael Finley had been quiet, and all of a sudden now he comes up with 4 points in the last minute and a half.
You talked about the threat inside, creating the outside shot. Everybody in transition collapsed around Griffith, and nobody was available to guard Finley.
9-point lead. Hughes unlucky on the shot. Ham will get the carry.
Nice job by Ham to get position. Good defense by Wisconsin.
Look at Stu Jackson right there off the edge of the floor. In fact, he was the closest man to the basketball, really working that defense. Timeout on the floor, 7:22 left until halftime. Wisconsin 33 and Texas Tech 24. Biggest lead in the night for the Wisconsin Badgers at 33 points, at the 33-24, I should say. And look at his move again by Finley that we went to break on. Look how far away from the hoop he was. We talked with James Dickey, the head coach at Texas Tech, about Finley.
Michael Finley is a terrific basketball player, very good athlete. He can put it on the floor, take it to the basket, shoot the ball from the perimeter, and he's going to get some points. What we've got to try to avoid is to let him have that great game and try to minimize the number of opportunities he gets. But I think he's got to be one of the top 15 basketball players in the country.
7 points for him so far tonight. And as you take a look at Tracy Webster as he moves it up. Webster is a man who has had a tough transition to make with this basketball team, hasn't he, Dan?
He's been asked to do an awful lot of things under Stu Jackson's system, and he's done them very well. Now we're going to get a pushing foul, I believe, against Tracy Webster out on the perimeter. But Webster's a young man who, under Stu Jackson's system, was asked to do an awful lot more in terms of handling the ball, setting people up than he was under Steve Yoder at Wisconsin. Webster came in as a scorer and can still score very well, but he was in transition last year. The shooting percentage was down.
Just picked up his second foul. That's the 6th team foul of Wisconsin. One more, and Tech goes to the bonus. And they need a little help right now, down 33-24. Sasser backs it in, and the jump hook knocks it down. That's a nice shot.
I don't think that James Dickey can be upset at all with the way his team has played defensively. Wisconsin's got a good group. They're going to be able to score. But I think offensively, he's upset that he can't get his kids going. And here I think we're going to get a foul on Kelly. Yes, it's on Kelly for an illegal screen. After that timeout, James Dickey went back to the man-to-man defense.
Brian Kelly is first, and as we said, the next one they go to 1-1, 17 fouls against Wisconsin.
And here is a place where Wisconsin, as you get a look at it, now they're in the bonus, or where Texas Tech can really make some hay here. They're in the bonus. Wisconsin has a long way to go to get there, so every time they get fouled, they're going to get an opportunity from the line.
Gets the front end of the 1-1.
And for them to produce on the free throw line, they're going to have to get away from some bad habits they've had in their first 4 games. They're only shooting as a team 50% from the free throw line. Davis knocks down those 2.
Davis now 7 points on the evening. 33-28. 5-point margin for Wisconsin. The lob inside, and again, well, Griffin misses that one, but he was fouled on the way to the hoop, and Sasser has been called for the violation.
Sasser wants to be careful there that he doesn't get himself called for a technical foul. But here's James Dickey's problem, I would say in miniature, except it's a 6'11" guy. But they go to the man-to-man defense, and Wisconsin immediately finds Griffith inside. Sasser comes to help. They're just not big enough to guard him in there. When James Dickey went to the zone, suddenly Wisconsin found the range from the three-point line.
Griffith misses the first one. Griffith has 10 first-half points.
Been very impressed with him early in this basketball game.
Gets the second one now. That's 11 for him. Just his presence inside and what he creates. He also has 2 block shots in his first half.
And after that made free throw, here comes some Wisconsin pressure. Barely got it across half court. They got it across half court as the clock was ticking to 25.
About to go under 6 minutes until halftime. Sasser with the drive. Not there. Kelly battles for the ball, and the jump ball is called.
Kelly really got popped on the inside. It's going to be Wisconsin basketball in the alternating possession. Interestingly enough, even though they're the smaller team, Wisconsin or Texas Tech controlled the opening tip.
Hoskins works the ball out on top.
Back to the zone.
Finley deep in the corner. 3. Boy,
James Dickey's got to be scratching his head. We talked about how Finley was quiet. He's now got 10 points. But every time James Dickey and the Texas Tech Red Raiders go to that man-to-man, they get the ball. Wisconsin does inside to Griffith. And when the Red Raiders go to his own, the Badgers drill it from 3.
Davis outside. In and out, and lucky on that shot right there. And very quickly, Hoskins pushes it up. 37-28. Kilbride for 3.
Very frustrating for Texas Tech right now. Wisconsin hitting on all cylinders.
Kilbride with the 3-pointer, and this is the first time that the Badgers have had a double-digit lead. They're on top 40-28 as we have 5 minutes and 8 seconds left until intermission, and the steal. And Finley with the jam. And James Dickey wants a timeout. Well, Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll see women's college basketball. Virginia takes on Connecticut. Game being shown at tape delay basis. The game's being played tonight, actually, at 7:30 Eastern Time. And speaking of women's basketball, the lady right there is Betty Dickey. That's James Dickey's wife. Back behind her is Lauren, their daughter. The all-time leading scorer for Arkansas women's basketball, Betty Dickey. She's from Wynne, Arkansas. In fact, went back to the new arena and was honored up there this past week as being an all-star women's basketball player for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Very frustrating. James Dickey told us last night that he can't beat his wife in horse.
No, when your wife's the all-time leading scorer at a university that is as good as that in basketball, that'd be tough. Hughes on the drive, and an offensive foul called on Lance Hughes.
Excellent defense by Wisconsin. Not only would it be tough to beat your wife in horse, I think it would be ill-advised to beat your wife in horse.
That's probably the wisest thing, yeah. First foul on Hughes, the fourth team foul on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And right now, Tech needs to stop the bleeding, get in at halftime, and figure out some kind of solutions, because 42-28, the largest margin by Wisconsin tonight.
The zone defense now for the Red Raiders.
Griffith got the carom, battles inside. Cooper comes away with the ball.
Texas Tech's got to push it up and get some easy opportunities. Stu Jackson is, shall we say, a little bit less than pleased with that particular call. Thought he had a charge there.
Finley will pick up the foul. And I think Finley did a very good job of reacting. And see if he did. Or did he get hit?
I think what the official saw, he steps into Davis and he moves the lower part of his body in, and that's one of the keys that officials look for. Finley actually moved his body into Davis and created the contact, and that's what the official saw, and that's what the official called. Stu Jackson, however, saw something else.
Texas Tech, as you can see, their numbers now 80% as Davis gets both of them. And points for Davis, 9 so far. Finley pulls up too hard off the glass. Sasser comes away with the ball.
Texas Tech would really like to push the ball up the court before Wisconsin can set their defense.
Davis, nice drive to the hoop, and he did it through and around Griffith.
Griffith actually hit the ball off the board.
Kilbride to Kelly. Kelly wanted to take the 15-footer. It was available, but thought better of it and went over to Finley. They'll reset it.
It's awfully tough when you have the inside threat that the Badgers have on the court right now to guard the three-point line effectively.
Finley from 3.
And there you see what the result is. You've got to have those guys in there around Griffith, and as a result, after a couple of ball reversals, you're going to get an open 3.
Finley now has 12 points in this ball game. And we talked about the first 7 or 8 minutes. He was really quiet. It's a good thing.
You see just the opposite for Texas Tech. They don't have the inside threat. So Wisconsin can play tough defense all over the court, but there's foul number 2 on Griffith. Now the call is
Kelly. He's going to call Kelly. He said that he elbowed, he pushed off. It's his second foul. 9th team foul against the Badgers. And very quickly, Peterson is off the bench, and he will come into the lineup, and they'll get Brian Kelly out of there, I would suppose, for the remainder of the first half, with 3:08 left.
Stu Jackson has a deep bench. We talked about their highly touted freshmen, but let's remember, Wisconsin has their 4 leading scorers and rebounders from last year returning. So certainly these highly touted freshmen, while they've shown us that they're very good players this evening, they're not coming into a place where the cupboard was bare.
Nope, they're not. Interesting, you're normally very glad to get any foul call, but the fans here are on the officials because they wanted the foul called on Griffith. Said, the heck with Kelly sitting down. Let's get that 6'11" giant out of there.
Let's get the big guy out of there. We'll take our chances with any 6'7" guys they can bring off the bench.
11-point lead for Wisconsin.
Now you've got the 2 big guys inside. Don't need to play that far out on Peterson.
Griffith unlucky on that shot. Sasser will come away with it.
Pretty good defense. Pretty good defense by Texas Tech. They got some pressure on him that time.
Cooper fouled on the way.
And the fans are mad because that foul's on Kilbride.
That is his second and the 10th team foul. Well, college football fans, here we go. The bowl season as the Bonus ESPN begins its coverage next Friday with the Las Vegas Bowl. Ball State will take on Utah State, and it begins with the kickoff show at 7:40 Eastern Time. Mike Gottfried and I will be out in Las Vegas for that bowl game. Hope it's not as cool as it was last year. That was one of those you want to build a fire in the booth.
Janae Cooper at the free throw line. And, Ron, it's interesting to watch. Watch what happens when the ball goes inside when Wisconsin's on offense. The defense collapses and the three-point area is open. But when the ball goes inside when Texas Tech has it, they leave the Griffiths to handle things in there. They stay on the three-point shooters. So with Texas Tech just can't get any open shots on the perimeter.
Coop well off the mark on that one. He almost didn't draw iron.
He threw a curveball up there.
He did. 45-34. 2:20 left until halftime, and Griffith tallies again.
He does a great job catching the ball, keeping it up high, pivoting to the basket. He's awfully difficult to contain in there. And with Texas Tech, their tallest guy being 6'7", and it's not a husky 6'7" either.
No,
These are wiry guys in there. They're just having all they can handle with Rashad Griffith.
I have to wonder how many Big Ten coaches or assistants are watching tonight thinking it's not going to be fun to go to Madison this time around. Smith way outside, counted for three.
They really, really need that, but Hoskins had pretty good defensive pressure against Smith on that three-point attempt.
Well, he's got 8 points now. Under 2 to play until halftime.
Nice job that time. Double teamed him immediately. Griffith threw it away.
Hughes knocks down the two-pointer.
Texas Tech's best series in this basketball game is when they were able to create some turnovers. They've gotten some the last couple of times.
26-12 points in the paint in this one tonight. Wisconsin leading in that stat. Finley on the follow, and he is fouled. Coming up at halftime, the Delta Faucet halftime report. Johnny Saunders standing by, back at the studio. We'll hear more about Duke and Michigan. Big ball game played today. Also other top 25 scores and highlights. Charlie Ward, the winner of the Heisman Trophy. And also some divisional football playoffs today. Some really exciting games. Had a wild one over in Florence, Alabama. Finley has 15 points, looking for 16.
Ron, that's one of the few times today, as Finley goes and now tries to convert the second one, that Wisconsin has gotten second chance opportunities. For the most part, Texas Tech has done a pretty good job with the blockout.
Finley makes it a 10-point ball game with 1:16 until halftime, and he has 17.
I think Texas Tech would really like to be in at halftime with an under 10-point ball game. They battled back very effectively. That is a long, long shot.
Cooper gets the long. Kerman Griffith with the block. He just knocked it back to the outside, and Hoskins will push it up the floor. Hoskins a little out of control, and he gets himself an offensive foul.
Ron, the impressive thing about that block shot by Griffith, as we get a look at Hoskins walking up the court with Finley, he didn't slap the ball out of bounds. And that's one thing that really impresses me about a freshman. He's not trying to make the highlight film, slapping it up into the third row. He just deflects the ball so his teammates have a chance to control it and turn it into a transition basket.
You're right. Knocked it right back to a red jersey. Whistle and a foul, and that's going to be on Texas Tech.
Hoskins stepping in, drawing the charge. Sasser's down. I think he landed really hard on his elbow.
Sasser will get the foul.
Holding his head. I think he landed on the back of his head. Now he can't believe the foul's on him. He was going to be hurt and seeking sympathy, but now the foul's on him. He can't believe it. Now he's okay. He doesn't need any help. What do you mean? Me, the foul?
Third personal foul.
What a remarkable recovery, so he could argue. He's got to be very careful. What an enthusiastic player.
Well, since he is one of the largest or larger Red Raiders, they're going to get him out with 48 seconds left, picking up his third foul.
We talked about how tough it was on the interior, on the offensive end for Texas Tech. Most of the problems caused by Griffith, but there's Hoskins, the smallest guy on the floor, drawing the charge.
Finley with it high above his head. Johnson. Hoskins says, I'll take a three. Off the mark, but there's Griffin. And Griffith will be called for the push-off.
Stu Jackson rather vehement in his disagreement with that particular call. Cooper got pretty good position on the block out right here. And right there was what the call is. Griffith wraps that arm around and moves him out of the way. That's something that Stu Jackson couldn't see. And you have to remember, that play is coming right at the official down there. And as Griffith wraps that arm around, they ruled that he gained an advantage by that particular play. I don't think, in other words, that's just a natural reaction for him. And he's so strong, he just moved Cooper right out of the way.
I started to say, when you're 6'11", 270, a hand in your Adam's apple will get your attention. That's 2 fouls on Griffith. They send him to the bench, and he will be there for the final 27 seconds. As Cooper misses the first free throw.
This is an adventure. The last 3 shots that Cooper has taken from the free throw line have all missed in different areas. One was to the left, one was to the right. There's no consistency in this free throw. Cooper a little frustrated out there.
Well, he's 0 for 3. Let's see if he can get this one. Knocks it down. Well, that's 25% for him from the line. His first point. That's a starting point.
Shot clock is off. That's the game clock in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Finley. That is partially blocked. It will be Texas Tech basketball with 3 seconds left. The man who got it was Mark Davis. Got just a piece of it. Collins better put it up. He does. Counts if it goes, and it's off the mark. And it's halftime here on the South Plains, with the Badgers of Wisconsin owning a 9-point margin, 49-40. And truthfully, they have outplayed Dan Bonner. Texas Tech even worse than the 9 that they lead by.
I think Texas Tech is very fortunate to get into the locker room only down 9 points. It said something about the resolve of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They didn't quit.
So, 49-40, our halftime score. John Saunders says, go back to you. And I think you'd have to say, John, that all things are going well for the Wisconsin Badgers in athletics these days.
Absolutely, Ron. As you know, their football team is headed to the Rose Bowl for the first time in 30 years, and their basketball team looks very good as well. Welcome to the Delta Faucet Halftime Report. We will look at some scores and highlights from earlier today, including Michigan out of the Big Ten taking on Duke in what's become a heated rivalry, in Temple, a tough time in a Big 5 matchup with Villanova. That and more when we return.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Mobile Link Cellular Service. It's simply the way to communicate.
(49-40), Wisconsin has the lead right now over Texas Tech. Welcome to the Delta Faucet Halftime Report. Let's look at scores and highlights from earlier today. We will actually start in the National Football League, where this is not a misprint. 3-0, the New York Jets beat the Washington Redskins. And in the other matchup of the day, Atlanta wins over San Francisco. The help goes to Dexter Carter, who had a muff and a fumble late in the game, setting up field goals as Atlanta comes from behind to win, coming back from 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Back to college basketball now. The Arkansas Razorbacks, #1 team in the nation, and thus far, easily the most impressive club that I've seen this season. Whipping it around here, Corey Beck, knocking it down, a 3-pointer against Delaware State. And then Scotty Thurman, he can hit it from outside as well, but the nice pass to Corliss Williamson, he gets the easy dunk. 27-8, #1 is out in front by 19 points. Earlier today, Duke against Michigan, #3 against #4, and what's become a very good rivalry over the last couple of years. In fact, Michigan fans camped out trying to get tickets to this one. Collins knocking down a 3. Doug's son Chris, 18-8 run. Duke led by 10. But back comes the Fab Four. Jackson with the steal to Jalen Rose. He knocks it in. Rose with a career day. Wolverines within 7. Juwan Howard misses this jumper. Cherokee Park comes up with the rebound. Ray Jackson with the steal. Blocked by Grant Hill right there on Howard. Mike Krzyzewski likes what he sees, and well, he should. A 73-63 win. Cherokee Park was 23 points and 9 rebounds. And Jalen Rose had 31 points in a losing cause. Kansas against Arkansas Little Rock is just underway. 17-13 is the score in this one. Long Beach State facing UCLA. The Bruins, a team surprising many thus far this season, climbing up the polls. Charles O'Bannon, one of the top freshmen in the country, drives in for the jam, but he's fouled by Atkinson. Well, the only way they've been able to stop him this year. Cameron Dollar with the drive. Feeds it to Charles O'Bannon. He gets it in 33-15 at halftime. And then watch Sean Tarver to Ed O'Bannon, back to younger brother Charles. He puts it in. And right now, UCLA is cruising. 46-18 is the score. They've never lost against Long Beach State. Long Beach State shooting 27% while scoring 15 points in the first half. Eastern Kentucky facing number 10 Louisville. Louisville, a team that actually started the season with a loss, but now on a roll. Like Calhoun says, let's pull off an upset. John Allen with the jumper on the baseline. Eastern Kentucky actually led it by 1. But how do you stop the big guy, Clifford Rozier? Well, simply put, you don't. He takes the lob inside and knocks it down, gets fouled as well. Turnaround, and he's fouled. A little more as DeJuan Wheat finds Rozier. He throws it up. Louisville led by 8 at that point. Right now, they're in the locker room. 45-38 is the score. Rozier with 20 points. He's perfect from the field thus far. Georgia Tech against Mercer, 44-41. Very close game. Fred Vincent has 15 points at halftime. He's averaging just 12 points a game coming in. Virginia, number 22 against Old Dominion. 35-32 is the score at halftime. Virginia leading the all-time series 6-3. And Jackson State down to George Washington, 39-28, as Vaughn Jones has 9 points in the first half of the game. Yinka Dare has 7 points and 4 rebounds at halftime. We'll continue with more in just a moment as we are at halftime here, Wisconsin facing Texas Tech.
This halftime report is presented by the Delta Faucet Company. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Welcome back once again to the Delta Faucet halftime report. Checking one game that's underway right now. UMass ranked number 8 in the nation facing Holy Cross. They lead it now 17-9. Still plenty of time left in the first half. Earlier today, Villanova and Temple look like a mismatch coming in a Big 5 matchup, but Steve Lappin says, hey, we are improved this year, and they have been. They've knocked off Georgetown already. Jonathan Haynes with a steal, blocked by Eddie Jones. Alvin Williams all alone. Temple's Eddie Jones with a jumper. He had 18 points, 12 in the second half. Last minute of the game, Kerry Kittles, who's become a money player, knocking down a 3 that makes it a 1-point Temple lead. 31 seconds left. Derek Battie double-teamed, but he still comes up big and knocks it in. A couple of free throws after that. 54-49 in a surprisingly close game. Aaron McKee with 17 points, 9 rebounds. Jones and McKee have combined for 63% of Temple scoring this year. Connecticut against Central Connecticut, one of those mismatches that would prove to be just that. 8-0 run to start the game. Donnie Marshall with 28, that's a career high. 52-27 at halftime. Ray Allen then, the freshman, comes up with a steal, and showtime. He had 25 off the bench. Danielle Marshall, then the lob to Danielle Marshall again. 117-63. Ray Allen with 25 points, 11 rebounds. Donnie Marshall with 28. Danielle had 23. And Connecticut rolls as they are now 5-0 on the season. Back with more in a moment. But first, here's a look at some more scores, including Seton Hall knocking off St. Bonaventure and Providence. That's the biggest margin of victory they've ever had over a Division I opponent. at 9:30 Eastern Time. Following the game you're watching now, Oklahoma State, ranked number 15 in the nation with Big Country Bryant Reeves, taking on LSU. The game being played in New Orleans. But still to come the second half. Michael Finley started slowly, but boy, was he rising towards the end of the second half. 9-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by the U.S. Army, where you can earn up to $30,000 for college.
Well, it's halftime here at Lubbock with our score. The Wisconsin Badgers 49-40 over the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Ron Franklin and Dan Bonner back with you on the South Plains. And, you know, you look at the way Wisconsin did it, it was almost textbook, because you hear coaches talk about inside out. One creates good for the other. That's exactly what they did, isn't it?
Yeah, you talk about big factors in the first half, and I think the biggest factor was the biggest guy on the floor, Rashad Griffith. Wisconsin very early established the inside game. They got the ball inside to Griffith, and that forced Texas Tech to collapse its defense inside. You can see unsuccessfully on that particular play. But as the ball moves around the outside of the zone here, look inside. There's Griffith, number 54, inside. He's got three guys concentrating on him on the inside, so they're able to make the long pass across the zone. Finley has all day to shoot the ball, and you just can't give Michael Finley that much time to shoot it. Ron, as you said, the classic inside-outside game.
All right, now if you're James Dickey, you're in your own backyard, but what in the world did you tell your club at halftime to overcome what seems like a mountain that's higher than they can climb?
Well, I don't know that you can particularly overcome it on the defensive end of the court. I think they can work harder to maybe cover up those perimeter shooters, but I think for Texas Tech, if they're going to do it in the second half, they've got to play with the same kind of intensity on the defensive end that they did in the first half. They've got to get it done on the offensive end. That's where Texas Tech struggled in the first half.
Let's take a look at the stats in the first 20 minutes of play, and you'll see that there were some good things done by the Red Raiders, but 59% on the shooting percentage.
Well, Wisconsin was getting excellent shots because of that inside-outside game. The key stat that I think that you see there is the three-point shooting. Texas Tech, with the disadvantage that they have, the size disadvantage, they're going to have that points in the paint differential. But they've got to be able to hit the ball from three-point range. 6 of 11 for Wisconsin, only 3 of 11 for Texas Tech. The Red Raiders have to do much better behind the arc.
Cam was extremely quiet in that first half for the Red Raiders. Hughes with the spin move blocked by Griffith. So he starts off the second half same way that he opened the first half of play. Finley for 3.
That was a tip by Griffith. He's going to get called for the foul. James Dickey said that one of the most important things that his team had to do was to block out Ham, gets an excellent block out against Griffith. He goes over the back, and that's where the foul is called.
So it's his third. He just picked up his 4th block, but he's going to have to come to the bench. And Stu Jackson just came as close to getting a technical foul as he will ever come
without getting one.
Without getting one, exactly. Boy.
He's not happy. That was right at the end of the first half that Griffith picked up number 2 on a call that Stu Jackson didn't like. And now that's a little touchy call right there, because poor Griffith, those guys for Texas Tech are so small he can't see him. Boy, Hughes got knocked in the nose.
Running jumper, not there. Kilbride comes away with it for the Badgers. The first minute of play in the second half. It's a 49-40 ball game. Wisconsin.
Peterson, number 43 for the Badgers, comes in the ballgame to replace Griffith. He's 6'10". Not nearly the defensive player that Griffith is, however. It'll be interesting to see how Wisconsin approaches it offensively without Griffith in the game for a long period.
Webster wanted to pull up with the jumper. Hughes takes it away.
Hit again.
He just got banged in the nose again. That's twice in the last 2 trips.
And I think he's so disgusted that nobody's gotten a foul called, and his nose is taking a beating. Right there, Webster basically just hands the ball to him. There you can see it looks like he got a pretty good left jab.
Trying to
that was inadvertent in the middle of that play. Boy, there's nothing that shakes you up like getting popped in the nose like that. Everything goes blank for a minute.
Well, not once, but twice. Sasser out on top, working against Brian Kelly.
see if the Red Raiders are a little bit more confident on the inside with Griffith out of there. That's something we haven't seen all night, is the lob pass to anybody on the interior.
Sasser with the turnaround jumper, not there. Tipped by Hughes.
He's going to get a foul call, being over the back of Kilbride.
That's the second foul on Hughes.
Now, James Dickey is upset with Sasser on that particular play. Not a lot of ball movement by the Red Raiders. Without Griffith in the game, you might be able to go in and out. And I think Hughes is now bleeding from the nose, and so he's got to come out of the game.
So Collins will check into the lineup. And just what Dan was talking about, on successive trips down the floor, he got banged in the nose, and they're having to work him over now to stop the bleeding.
And the nose it's not like a cut on the arm where you can get a Band-Aid and just stick a Band-Aid on and get right back in the game. That nose is a little bit more difficult place to control the bleeding.
Hard to use cotton because you got to breathe. Three-pointer, Kilbride. Count it. 52-40.
That was
10 points for him. Sorry.
That was the three-pointer created by the penetration of Tracy Webster.
Davis with the turnaround. It's not there. It's a second opportunity with Sasser. Not there. The whistle and the tip inside. And that's going to be Peterson, who will pick up the violation. Coming up next, take you down to Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, the LSU Tigers and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And, of course, Big Country, Brant Reeves and company. Goes against the LSU Tigers. The Big Country has really come along. He may have as good a hands, as soft a hands, as any big guys around. So part of the problem that a lot of big people have is not there for him. He catches the ball extremely well.
You talk to people about Bryant Reeves, and everybody raves about the rapid improvement that he made from the time he came to Oklahoma State till now. And people talk about his work ethic, his desire to learn, and his willingness to listen.
Now, one of the reasons is the man that he plays under, Eddie Sutton, and of course James Dickey coached with Eddie Sutton for a long time. There's a friendship that has been around for some time, both Arkansas and also at Kentucky.
See, without Griffith inside, Texas Tech extending the man-to-man defense a little bit. This is the place where Webster can be dangerous, and Finley.
Finley this time drives the middle, had it, and he just cut off the kind of short-armed the shot there a little bit.
Sasser a little out of control right there. He needs to give the ball to somebody else, I think.
Finley also proved that he can do a good job with the defense working against Sasser.
If Finley has any downside to his game right at the moment, I would say that he lacks a little bit of strength. You can look at him. He's not real strong in the upper body. Hasn't affected him tonight, but as you go through a tough Big Ten season, and particularly if he intends to play at the next level, he's going to need to improve that strength.
Way outside with the three-pointer. Roberts will clear it for the Badgers.
James Dickey really upset with his team right at the moment. They're not doing a good job on the offensive end.
Finley got away with a walk, and he's going to go to the line and for an opportunity in a three-point play.
Ron, this is what we talked about at halftime, that how Texas Tech, when you're playing a team like Wisconsin with the weapons that Wisconsin has, and here we're going to see Webster with the great pass, Finley ahead of the pack. Ball got knocked out of his hands, which is why it wasn't a walk. What great hands to pick it up. But with weapons like that, Wisconsin is going to be able to score. You're not going to shut these guys out. But Texas Tech continues to struggle on the offensive end. They've got to convert when they have the ball.
Finley tries to get his 20th point, and he does. Boy, what a night for him.
Wisconsin noted for their pressure defense. The only time they've shown it tonight is after a couple of made free throws. They've done a great job with the half-court defensive pressure. Haven't really seen a lot of full-court pressure.
Griffith on the bench with 3 fouls and 13 points. And on the drive to the hoop, Peterson picks up the violation. That's his second.
Davis at 6'7", junior college transfer. He's listed as a forward in the game program, but he's done an awful lot of point guard ball handling responsibilities for Texas Tech this evening. Stu Jackson is upset. He doesn't think the 35-second shot clock was turned on at the proper time.
Davis now 6 of 6 from the free throw line. 55-44. Finley for 3.
Boy, what a basketball game he's having.
23. Davis drives, can't get it to Coe, and the tip inside.
His hand.
Yeah, Darren Ham.
Look how quickly Wisconsin gets the ball up in transition into the attack zone. There's another 3.
That was a line drive 3. Jaleel Roberts. 61-46. 6 points for Roberts now.
Some people seem to think that transition only occurs when a team blocks a shot or gets a turnover or gets a rebound. Wisconsin taking it out of the net and running it up the court.
Sasser drives it, shoots it high off the hoop.
And here they come again. They're going to run the ball up the court very quickly. If you're Texas Tech, you can't afford to jog back down the court.
Sasser's got 12 points for the Red Raiders. Pass inside. Peterson can't hold on to it. Sasser will get the takeaway.
That was a bad pass. Peterson threw the ball to the wrong side. What strength by Webster to pick up that ball and hold off Collins.
Roberts turns it around. The left-hander misses the short jumper. And Texas Tech thinks better of pushing it up the court. Darren Ham gets it over to Collins, and they'll set up the play as Lance Hughes prepares to check back into the ballgame. Davis for 3, Kansas.
Now that gets it down to 10. There's 14:50 left in the basketball game.
He's got 16 points now. Pass inside, and Peterson got away from his man.
Nice catch inside. And remember, he's 6'10". He's got a big height advantage over the defense in there. That was an excellent catch that time. And a good, strong step to the basket. Smith thought about his three-point shot. That would have been from well beyond NBA three-point range. Sasser has been working inside effectively in the second half. There he's going to get a foul against Finley. Sasser, one of the outstanding freshman players in the Southwest Conference last year. James Dickey, Texas Tech, located here in West Texas, talking about basketball talent in Texas, told us last night that it's not every year that a great player comes out of West Texas, and he feels very fortunate that he thinks that his program has gotten the last 2 great players to come out of West Texas. Will Flemons, who was graduated last year, was one, and he thinks Jason Sasser is the next.
Knocks the first one down. A very hard worker. And the interesting thing about him, you could watch him in the game and also in practice, and his shot is aesthetically not what you would call beautiful, but it's the end result, what it finds. Timeout on the floor. 63-53, Wisconsin. We'll be right back. Texas Tech Cheryl Swoops was the 1992-93 College Basketball Player of the Year. She led the Lady Raiders to a national title, scoring 47 points. Head coach Marcia Sharp was jubilant. It was a moment that proved that all the hard work had paid off. A time they'll remember forever. Texas Tech's first national championship. Well, that is the tape from last year in Atlanta. The NCAA championship banner hanging high in the rafters here in Lubbock, the 1993 championship. And there is a good look at Cheryl Swoops. She has just returned from Italy, where she had been playing professionally and has just returned within the last 2 weeks. The Women's College Player of the Year, 92-93. And Dan, I'll tell you, you talk about somebody who could light up the scoreboard, and you could double her, do whatever. It just seemed like she still was going to get it there. Just like what Wisconsin is doing right now as Johnson scores.
Wisconsin pushes the ball up the court, and Texas Tech a few times has not gotten back and gotten organized defensively and has given up wide open three-point shots, and the big guy is back in the ball game for Wisconsin.
Comes back in with just under 14 minutes to play. That shot's off the mark. Hughes hustling inside. The jump hook is partially blocked by Griffith. Then on the follow is Davis, and you see Finley come away with
great job by
Hughes, and he was fouled.
He just took it right out of the hands of Finley. You know, we were just saying a few minutes ago that if Finley has a weakness, it's strength. And Hughes just takes the ball right out of his hands. Finley gets up there and gets the big rebound. As he turns, Hughes just takes it right out of his hands. Finley fouls him on the way down. What a nice play by Lance Hughes.
That's 3 fouls on Finley, so he will have to be careful this next 13:43.
Ron, Texas Tech continues to hang around in this basketball game. Hughes makes the free throw, makes it a 10-point game again, and as Wisconsin gets the ball up and down the court, you continue to think that it's a much wider spread than that, but Texas Tech is hanging around in this basketball game.
Hughes has 11 points on the evening. Griffith inside, you could see the collapse and the double on him.
Cooper tried to get in front of him, just bounced off.
Three-pointer on the way, won't go, and Texas Tech again comes away with the basketball.
Texas Tech did a nice job defending both inside and outside with some real hustle in that zone defense.
Janae Cooper back in the lineup. He got the rebound. And that foul right there, it looks like Jason Johnson will pick it up. Yep, that's who it's on. Well, AFC-NFC showdown on Sunday night as the Green Bay Packers take on the San Diego Chargers. Packers have the NFC's second leading defense. On an offense, Sterling Sharp's 86 receptions on pace for the NFL record of 108 that he set just last year. That's from Jack Murphy Stadium. NFL football coming up tomorrow evening.
Could be a potentially pretty big trip for Texas Tech. They've got the opportunity to cut that lead to 8 or even 7 if they can get a three-point shot. They'd like to get a good look at the basket.
Well, the ideal thing, if you're a Tech fan, would be drive it to the hoop, pick up a three-point play, and get Griffith to get his fourth foul.
It's excellent defense by Wisconsin. Griffith switched out. And there's Wisconsin running it up the court.
Hoskins knocks down to 2, his first 2 of the evening, and it's 68-56.
That's a great job converting a good defensive series into a nice shot on offense.
Because you hear play through the illegal screen. That's the quote from the Wisconsin coach. Griffith with a nice move. Can't get it to go down, but he'll go to the line for a couple.
He's very fluid with his movement inside for a big guy. Nice pivot that time. Good fake. Ducks under the defender. Draws the foul. Came very close to a three-point play.
Janae Cooper will pick up the foul. It's his first. And on the Raiders, it's their third team foul. Hughes will come back out of the lineup.
Lance Hughes has really struggled tonight. Wisconsin Badgers have done a nice job against him defensively. And he's a guy that James Dickey would really like to get going here. Hughes has the three-point shooting ability. He could shoot the Red Raiders back into this thing.
Hughes with 10 points in the first half. Mark Davis with 11. And Troy Smith, who's just come back into the lineup, is 8 on the evening.
Hughes has had to work, though, as Griffith misses that one. He's got 10 points, but he's had to work hard for everything he's gotten. And as we saw here in the second half, he's been bounced around pretty good in there. He's a guy who sticks his nose in there and nearly got it chopped off earlier in this game.
Twice. Griffith tries to get the second one to go down and misses them both.
Really impressed with the job that Texas Tech has done on their defensive boards. This, as we've said many times, a much bigger Wisconsin team, and they just haven't gotten that many second-chance opportunities.
Yeah, physically, Texas Tech is totally outmanned. You're right. That's a good point.
There's one basket from Troy Smith. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Nope, he had 8 in the first half, as we just mentioned. It gives him 11. But Wisconsin can't get the answer. Griffith will, and the rebound will score the 2, and he'll go to the line to try to make it a three-pointer.
Just when we talked about the job that Texas Tech has done on the defensive board, Griffith gets an offensive rebound, but let's face it, you're not going to keep him away from the board the whole night. Got to react out to Johnson, and he misses the shot, and what happened was Sasser, who could have blocked out Griffith, anticipated that the ball would go long on the rebound, and it was a rebound that came right back to Griffith.
Folks, look at the body on this kid. He's 6'11". He's a freshman. You expect freshmen to have baby fat. I mean, it's hard to find any fat anywhere on his body. Timeout on the floor. 11:41 left in the ball game. 71-59 Badgers.
Delaware State and Arkansas, and Alex Dillard having quite a first half, knocks down this three-pointer. And Dillard again from long range. He had 7 in the first half. 9 is the school record. So back to Ron and Dan.
John, I thought it was supposed to take a while to become accustomed to new rims and a new house like that. I think that Arkansas has found the mark very quickly, don't you?
Sounds like somebody ought to get out and guard Dillard.
Our score is 71-59. And we have 11:40 left in the ball game.
And the Red Raiders can't really catch all the way up. There's Finley with a nice job knocking the ball out of bounds, but Texas Tech is hanging around. They have not lost contact with Wisconsin. Get a look at the shooting in the second half. Wisconsin continues to shoot it very well, and there's Jason Sasser with a little turnaround.
Alone in the corner, though, and Johnson has the answer.
That play has killed Texas Tech today. That's a three-point shot in the transition game. Texas Tech just slow getting back up the court after a made basket.
Darvin Ham's going to check back in. Smith way outside. The follow, they can't get it to go. Davis with a follow blocked by Griffith.
That's a very tough break for Texas Tech. It looked like that tip was very, very makeable, and they missed it and then lost the chance at the shot.
Well, Ron Franklin and Dan Bonner coming to you from the Lubbock Municipal Coliseum out on the South Plains, it is called, here in Lubbock, Texas. Right now, the Red Raiders trying to regain contact. They are down by 13 as we're about to go with 10 minutes left to play in this first half. Or in the ball game, I should say. Well, you can hear Stu as we move down here close to our microphones again. Illegal screen, he said he hit him in the throat.
Well, there's nothing in the rule book that makes that illegal.
Loose on the floor. Findlay will come away with it.
And the last thing the Red Raiders can afford is to be sloppy with their ball handling at this point in the basketball game. You know, he's done a pretty good job getting a lot of minutes tonight for Wisconsin. This guy right here.
Hoskins, and he hadn't been able to play. You're right, because of the ankle. Look at the nice play by Wisconsin. Findlay drives the lane, gets the easy two. He now has 23 points, and there's a timeout on the floor. And our new score is the Badgers 76 and the Red Raiders 61. Well, his club is up big. You know, he coached with Rick Pitino with Providence and also with the New York Knicks. And I asked him yesterday, how much of a Pitino flavor do his workouts and his games have?
Coach Pitino's had a great influence, you know, on myself learning my trade in terms of style of play, in terms of organization, and in terms of motivating young men. So I'd have to say the influence is great. What we've done is just taken some of those things and modified them to come up with a system that applies to our own personnel.
You know, Dan Bonner, I told you today at the shoot-around, as Hughes drives the hoop and gets the two. At the shoot-around, one man runs it. Stu Jackson, same way that Pitino runs it. A lot of things done with the clock, done quickly. Move, shooting off a full-speed pace rather than half-speed.
But I think the important point to stress is that while there's definitely an influence, and we're all influenced by the people with whom we work as we go through our lives, Stu Jackson's very definitely his own man.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. You're right. Under 9.5 minutes left in the ballgame. Griffith on the turnaround, and he swishes it. And folks, not to wear out something we talked about all night, but this kid was playing high school football, basketball just not too long ago. And he is extremely, extremely polished.
He's really got some nice offensive moves that will turn around jump shots. A nice smooth-looking jump shot. He's got 5 block shots tonight. Here he comes. Very nearly got another one right there. And there's Hughes getting hammered again.
Now that is the third foul on Jason Johnson. Hughes will leave the arena tonight as the human welt.
He wins tonight's Chuck Wepner Award.
He's been banged everywhere. Knocks the first one down. Kilbride will check back into the lineup, and Jason Johnson will get a break. 16 points for this young man, though. For all the physical jousting that has gone on and the beating he's taken, he's had a very good ball game. On the floor, stolen by Texas Tech. Coy Smith has it knocked away by Kilbride, and he goes and retrieves it and it'll go back to the Badgers. I'm not sure Smith had to go retrieve that, did he?
Smith didn't have to go retrieve it. For the tip away occurred right in front of where we're sitting, but I don't think Smith realized that.
So, but that's good hustle. He went ahead after the ball, but it cost his team a turnover then. 78-64, Wisconsin.
Now, that's a situation where if you're not sure you can get it, just leave it go and hope that the official gives the ball back to you, and definitely they'll get the ball back there. That was one. They're throwing it into those seats over there, and it's not where Stu Jackson wants it to go.
We haven't seen Wisconsin do a lot of that tonight, though, have we? Great move side. That'll be on the highlight reel. Mark Davis.
Now, that's really some confidence in there, throwing it up when the big guy's in there, but Griffith didn't see the back play, but he sees that.
Griffith misses the first, misses the tap. Finley battles inside. He can't get it, and Hughes comes away with it.
They hit a three here. They can cut it back under double figures again.
Ham outside, looks for a cutter. Doesn't find one. Coming up after this one, LSU playing host to Oklahoma State. That game down in New Orleans. Yep.
And I think that's the presence of Griffith inside. You take the ball down inside, and everybody for Texas Tech they're feeling the big guy. The longer you hold it, the closer you know that he's coming. Griffith was there, but he didn't get up to block the shot. He heard the whistle with the walking violation. Good interior defense by Wisconsin.
Timeout called by Wisconsin, so we'll take it with them. 7:46 left in this one. They're up by 12.
The Wisconsin Badgers lead by 12, and for the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, getting the ball inside has been an adventure because of number 54. But here Griffith looking the other way. Texas Tech gets the great pass from Coy Smith inside to Mark Davis with the dunk. Texas Tech came into the game wanting to attack inside. They were able to do it that time. There's an interesting little stat.
32-24.
But 10-8 in the second half with Texas Tech doing a pretty good job inside.
Kilbride misses on the three-pointer.
Nice job by Ham to get up there as high as he could and just tip the ball away from the Wisconsin Badgers.
Nice move by Darvin Ham.
And we just showed you that Texas Tech was doing a nice job getting the ball inside. They got it inside again. They took it right at Griffith that time.
Well, is it their final push of the evening? 7:13 left to play. 10-point game, and the crowd is up trying to get them going.
Wisconsin has made 11 three-point baskets in this game. They try another one there, miss. Oh, what a big rebound.
Griffith not there in the follow as they battled. Sasser will come away with it.
Texas Tech guys doing really a nice job battling on the backboards. That's where they'd like to have Griffith outside. Nice move.
Ham misses the reverse. They miss on the follow and a jump ball, and they're going to call a hold on Kilbride.
That was great recognition by Ham. He realized that he had Griffith on the outside and beat him to the basket. He didn't make the shot, but with Griffith following along, there's no rebounding there. Now watch Ham as he gets the ball there, draws Griffith to him, and then just takes him to the baseline. Griffith stops. Sort of the Matador defense there. Stopped, looked at him go by. Griffith never did get to the board, and as a result, Hughes and Ham are able to get the rebound. And a foul on Kilbride, who goes to the bench with 3.
18 fouls against Wisconsin in this second half.
And Ron, they've got it back down to 9 points.
7 points for Ham.
And Ham has been battling against Griffith inside the entire game. Ham has had a good basketball game.
Gets the second one. He only had 2 at the intermission, but he's come up with 6 very important points here in this second half of play.
And Coy Smith trying to pressure the basketball, slow down that transition game.
You can see Webster back in the lineup for the Badgers of Wisconsin.
Ham really pushing inside against Griffith.
Webster for 3, and how big is that? Just knocked the wind right out of him. They had cut it down under 10, and it's back to 11.
Wisconsin really showing you the ability to stick that ball from three-point range. By my count, that's 12 now for the Badgers in this basketball game. And they're hitting them at an almost 60% clip.
Under 6 minutes to play. Davis a little out of control. Gets fortunate, though, because the foul is going to be called against Brian Kelly. That's 3 fouls on him. Coming up a week from tonight, Texas Tech, you'll see him right here on the ESPN again, out in Provo up against BYU. That's Friday at midnight Eastern time.
That's a pretty good BYU basketball team, too, Ron. They're big. So for Texas Tech, BYU starts 3 guys 6'9" or better, and they can bring 6 guys 6'8" or better off the bench.
And they don't lose very much there either.
So you talk about big, Texas Tech will have their hands full again.
Davis, well, that's the first one he's missed. He was 7 of 7 at the line prior to that one. 81-71. Off Griffith's hand. And a careless play right there as Webster had his man open, but just threw it a little bit away from the big guy.
I talked about the things that Griffith can do. One of them is run the court very well. He's wide open, the ball just a little long. He's caught just about everything he could get his hands on that we've seen him tonight, and he just wasn't able to get anything more than a fingertip on that ball.
Well, for the mistake, Webster goes to the bench, and Darnell Hoskins comes right back into the lineup for Wisconsin. Coy Smith, you see it high off the glass, banks it over Griffith. 81-73.
And they've got it down to that 8-point lead again. Important defensive series right here for Texas Tech, and the Red Raider faithful are standing.
Oh, that's a nice look. Griffith can't hold on, and a foul called against Texas Tech. That's Sasser who picks up the foul.
And that'll be number 4.
Only the 15th foul.
Griffith's doing a great job recognizing where he's supposed to be on the court. Gets out of the 3-second lane, then steps right back in it. Sasser comes and tries to knock the ball away, but you're rarely going to take the ball out of Griffith's hands without fouling. Really impressed with the way Griffith positions himself inside. Griffith is open again.
Less than 5 to play in this ball game.
Sasser's got the 4 fouls. He's got to be careful.
Finley, too hard. Hughes with the rebound for the Red Raiders. They can make it a 6-point ball game. Smith for 3.
And he banks it in. That was a bank shot. I didn't hear him call it. Did you, Ron?
Don't think so. It's 16 points for him, and it's a 5-point game.
A very gutty effort by the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. I have no idea how they're in this ball game.
Finley, left-handed dribble, has it, blocked by Davis.
Got an offensive foul.
4 fouls on Finley.
Finley trying to take it to the basket here. Great job by Ham. We've talked about the way Ham has played against Griffith. That time he stepped out from behind Griffith, got in position just in time to draw the charge. And are they excited in Lubbock or not?
Boy, they are standing and stomping and cheering. It's a 5-point game. The Red Raiders have the basketball with 4:18 to play. And Finley now burdened with his 4th personal.
Man-to-man defense by the Badgers. Got Griffith way out at the top again.
Shot clock now at 10 and now 9. Davis calls the play, and his play is another 3-pointer. Tried to bank another one.
They didn't really get a very good look at the basket that time. Good defense by Wisconsin.
Finley, and he was fouled by Hughes, and Finley took a chance there because he was going full speed and almost a little out of control. He could have gotten his 5th.
He could have, but again, you have Wisconsin running in transition and having Texas Tech back on their heels.
Now coming up, Oklahoma State against LSU down in New Orleans. Tim Brando and Dick Vitale will bring that one to you. It's the third game of our doubleheader on this Saturday.
Look for Finley to take more control of the basketball here as the game gets tight down the stretch. Davis doing an excellent job against him, though. Mark Davis, number 42 for Texas Tech, really all over it.
Webster back to Kelly. He feeds it off to Finley. It is not there, but Griffith on the follow. 83-76.
Big kid's pretty impressive, huh, Ron?
Boy, I'm telling you now, he just does a lot of things well. Smith, good move around, but you can see the influence by Griffith, causing him to alter his shot, and he missed it.
He may have actually got a finger on that ball, Ron, but
we know officially of 5 blocks that he has in the ball game.
2:45 left to go in the basketball game. Very big defensive series for Texas Tech.
Inside to Griffith. The turnaround, it was blocked, but it's a foul on Davis. Came across his arm. And that'll be the bonus situation for Wisconsin. 7th team foul against the Red Raiders.
Texas Tech went for the steal on the perimeter, Ron, and when they did that, that created a 5-on-4 situation. Kelly took the ball to the basket. Ham had to go help against Kelly, and as a result, that opened up Griffith, and then even though the defense collapsed, Griffith had the ball on the block, and there's nothing they can do except foul. It's not a smart time to go for that steal.
Griffith goes for his 21st point, and he cans it.
Wisconsin struggled a bit last year. They finished 14-14, and one of the big problems that they had is they didn't have a threat inside. Either on the offensive end, they were out-rebounded badly. Didn't really have a presence on the defensive end. Looks like they found one, even though he shoots an air ball right there. Now, for Texas Tech, there's still plenty of time left in this basketball game, but they've got to be very efficient and productive on the offensive end of the court. They've got to come down and they've got to score, and Hughes and Johnson are just shoving one another down under the basket.
Smith at the running jumper. Tip won't go, but Darvin Ham
almost have to have a defensive stop here.
Kelly blocked from behind, and
ball just squirted away. There's the blocked shot. Hughes gets his hand on it, but good hustle by Kelly. Kelly had his shot blocked, didn't hang his head at all. He hustled after the ball and got it.
You know, in Finley, you could see with that shot underneath that he is fortunate he didn't get a taunting. A technical right there.
Well, we've got something going on here.
Well, Darvin Ham got hit in the mouth. He's bleeding, and that's what they're having to do.
No, I think they called a technical foul on Finley.
Okay, well, that's what I was suggesting probably should happen.
Now, if they called a technical foul on Finley for taunting, that's his 5th foul.
It is his 5th foul. You're right.
Because we had him with 4 personal fouls. And so if they did call the technical on him, and I think that's what I heard, that they called the technical on Finley for taunting. And if that's so, that's his 5th foul. This is interesting. This is interesting because if that's the case, Finley is the guy who made the basket, so Finley has a foul coming, a foul shot, free throw coming, but how can you shoot the free throw if you fouled out of the game?
Personal foul, that's 5 fouls for Michael Finley.
Here comes Finley going to the basket, jams it down, and then he gets the taunting. Right there is the technical foul, and that will be his 5th foul, an unsporting foul. So he's going to shoot the he fouled out of the game, he's going to shoot the free throw. And he misses the free throw. Now he's done. Hey, Wally.
Trying to get Wally Tanner's attention here. Just to to get the explanation. He will leave with 27 points. Michael Finley.
Well, then that's something I've never seen before. I have never seen a guy shoot a free throw after he fouled out of the game. But, of course, the technical foul that caused him to foul out of the game came after the foul. After the foul. So you have to take those fouls by rule. You got to take those things in the sequence in which they occur. Any free throws that occur in a technical foul situation or in a dead ball foul situation, you take them in the order that they occurred, and so therefore that's why Finley was able to shoot that foul before he sits down on the bench.
Hughes now with 18 points in the situation. Red Raiders with the basketball. They're down by 8. Hughes with the reverse. Can't get it to go. Griffith was clear.
Griffith didn't block it, but he's sure the one who caused that missed shot, and that may be enough right there.
1:45 and counting. That's all we have left in this one from Lubbock.
I don't know what Coy Smith is doing. He's making some kind of signs and talking to Tracy Webster. Now, this is where the new rule where there's no 5-second closely guarded really comes in. Webster can control the basketball as long as he likes.
Roberts almost with an air ball. He barely drew iron, but Wisconsin gets it back.
Well, because he missed the shot so badly, Kelly was able to get the rebound despite the fact that Texas Tech was in good rebounding position. Now, see, Webster can just control this ball for the entire 35. There's 21 seconds now left on the shot clock. Webster can control the ball the whole time.
Webster was going to put the ball right back in play as Smith finally called for the violation. And Stu Jackson came flying off the bench and said, no, take it back out and burn the clock. Well, coming up next, it is LSU and Oklahoma State from New Orleans. Tim Brando and Dick Vitale standing by down at New Orleans.
And when you have a guy like a Tracy Webster who can handle the ball as well as Webster is able to handle the ball in these end-of-the-game situations, misses the free throw right there, that 5-second rule or the lack of the 5-second call while closely guarded and dribbling really hurts a defensive team.
Spin by Davis, in and out, and he gets it to go.
And now the clock is going to stop. Less than a minute left, but Wisconsin doing a great job getting the ball in and running it up the court. Steal.
Point game and a steal by Hughes. 2-on-1.
Oh, we've got an intentional foul. They just call an intentional foul on Tracy Webster. And tell me what a big turnaround this could be. Webster gets called for the intentional foul, grabbing Hughes as Hughes went down the court. So Hughes is going to go to the line and get 2 shots, and then Wisconsin is going to get the ball. Here's the steal right there. Sasser knocks it away. That was called an intentional foul. The official saw him reach in, ruled that was a grab. Stu Jackson can't believe that particular call, but this has the potential to be a huge turnaround in this game, and Hughes misses the free throw.
Well, he grabbed the jersey, and that's the reason they called it intentional.
Well, they had an opportunity for a 4-point play. Now it can be 3. All right, now it's a 5-point game. Wisconsin is going to get the ball. There's 38 seconds left in the game.
86-81, and actually they can make it a 4-point if they hit the 3-point shot here.
Well, they got to hurry now. Davis can't take this much time.
Hughes inside, gets it to go.
Now the foul was called before. Foul was called before. That was good defense by Wisconsin. In that situation, the Badgers really have to make sure that they guard the 3-point line. Rely on their big guy back there to patrol the lane. They did. Hughes was not able to get the 3-point shot, but to his credit, what a gutty performance by Hughes tonight. He got the ball to the basket.
Well, 30 seconds left in a 5-point game. Now 4 points. Kilbride, that was the noise you could hear as he came running down the floor saying a substitution. Jason Johnson comes out.
You know, the worst free throw shooter out there is Rashard Griffith.
Second one on the way, not there. They battle inside and touched last by Texas Tech.
Now Texas Tech needs to be careful that they don't get a technical foul.
Chad Collins checking into the lineup.
4-point ball game. We mentioned the free throw shooting. Griffith has been fairly effective from the free throw line tonight, but he came into the ball game shooting only 52% on the year. Got to get a steal or a foul.
Now that's Collins, who just came into the game, who will pick up the foul. Collins, I'm sure, will come right back out of the game, and Sasser will check back in.
Job defending that three-point line. Michael Finley has been quiet, particularly down the stretch for Wisconsin. Mark Davis doing an excellent job defensively. The Wisconsin Badgers, though, looks like maybe they're doing just enough to win. Tracy Webster going to the line for another free throw. Even if he makes it, they're still within 2 3-point baskets of winning the ball game.
And it's like a couple of the kids said yesterday from Wisconsin, we don't care how slim the margin. We've had trouble winning on the road. And it's one of the things they wanted to get here this evening is to continue their undefeated ways, but also to get a victory on the road.
It's been a very intense basketball game. The two teams have really played hard. I don't think either coach can fault anyone for the effort. We talked about somebody being dominant. What a game by Rashard Griffith. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 6 block shots.
And you have to wonder how many alters. I mean, just shots that he changed, you know. It just...
Alters, maybe we can come up with a better word for that particular frightens or something. You know, I don't know, but he certainly
alters and intimidation. Well, Tracy Webster doesn't let the noise bother him as he gets them both. 89-84.
Got to get the ball quickly into the offensive position. They're taking a lot of time here. Smith has to get it up.
In and out. Tip is good. 12 seconds left.
Webster's going to get fouled again. And now we've got some controversy here. James Dickey's very upset.
You know what he's talking about.
Absolutely what he's talking about.
The clock has to stop in the final minute.
In the last minute of the game. But the official can't put any time back on the clock unless he has definite knowledge. And Stu Jackson really can't go out of the coach's box to yell at the referee about that.
You can hear what James said. There was 11 seconds left, so 3 seconds came off the clock.
It's early in the season, and that's a new rule. And 3 seconds can mean everything in a game like this. Webster's hit those last 3 free throws after struggling at the line. Texas Tech is out of timeouts, which is why that's even more important that that clock gets stopped on time.
Gets them both, and it's 4 straight that he has stepped to the line and hit.
You got to get it up immediately. It's got to go now.
Smith. In and out. Not there. And on the follow, Hughes with the hoop.
1 second.
1 second left in the ball game. 3-point Wisconsin lead, and that'll do it. 91-88. The Wisconsin Badgers win it. And John, Rashard Griffith is a young fellow we're going to hear a lot about for seasons to come.
Absolutely, Ron. The youngster out of Chicago with a terrific game tonight as Wisconsin holds off Texas Tech for the victory. That game number 2 of 3.